What's up, everybody? E from Truth Virus. Got Puppet Obama here, reading his prepackaged script like the good little puppet bitch that he is, right? Here's what I was saying earlier on the Truth Bomb. That Operation Truth dropped earlier. Shout outs to him for dropping that Truth Bomb. I said he's going to talk about gun control, war, fear, 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 war, divide and conquer, war, fear, fear, fear. More laws, less rights. That's what Puppet Obama is going to create with his script. Right? Once again, shout outs to Operation Truth for dropping that. And all the other Truth Bomb channels and commenters, thumbs the fuck downers, and all of that. Let's listen to Barry Bush read his little script.
Good evening. On Wednesday, 14 Americans were killed as they came together to celebrate the holidays.
No, they weren't.
They were taken from family and friends who loved them deeply.
No, just pulling on the heartstrings.
They were white and black, Latino and Asian, immigrants and American born.
Right.
Moms and dads, daughters and sons.
Right, that's how the PSYOP is
Each
scripted.
of them served their fellow citizens, and all of them were part of our American family. Tonight I want to talk with you about this tragedy,
Our American family.
the broader threat of terrorism, and how we can keep our country safe.
Yeah, you know it is
The
terrorism.
FBI is still gathering the facts
Ran
about
by
what happened
secret
in San
societies.
Bernardino, but here's what we know. The victims were brutally murdered and injured by one of their co-workers
No, they
and his
weren't.
wife. So far, we have no evidence that the killers were directed by a terrorist
Exactly.
organization overseas,
We have no
or that
evidence,
they were
but,
part of a broader conspiracy here at home. But it is clear that the two of them had gone down the dark path of radicalization.
They went down that dark path of being radicalized, man.
Embracing a perverted interpretation of Islam that calls for war against America and the
Look at him
West.
reading that
They had
teleprompter.
stockpiled assault weapons, ammunition, and pipe bombs.
Read that shit.
So
Feed
this
us
was
that
an
fear,
act
Barry.
of terrorism
Terror.
designed to kill innocent people.
Kill innocent people.
Our
right?
nation
Fear,
has been
fear,
at war with
fear.
terrorists since Al-Qaeda killed nearly 3,000 Americans on
Oh,
9/11.
you gotta mention 9/11.
In the process, we've hardened our defense
You gotta, whenever they talk about terrorism, right? They gotta mention 9/11 every fucking time.
from
Gotta do it.
airports to financial centers to other critical infrastructure. Intelligence and law enforcement agencies have disrupted countless plots here and
Yeah,
overseas and worked around the clock to keep us safe.
foiled the CIA many times.
Our military and counterterrorism professionals have relentlessly pursued terrorist networks overseas,
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
disrupting safe havens in several different
These
countries,
stupid
killing
fucking
Osama bin Laden,
black and white
and decimating
Freemasonic
Al-Qaeda's
family pictures
leadership.
they got back here. Him.
Over the last few years, however,
The fuck up. They got him and Michael Obama with her big black cock back here.
the terrorist threat has evolved into a new phase. As we've become better at preventing complex,
We're entering a new phase now,
multifaceted
everybody.
attacks like 9/11,
Oh, they got to
terrorists
again.
turn
9/11
to less
again.
complicated acts of violence like the mass shootings that
They dropped that bitch 2 times. 9/11 twice. Special treat for you.
are all too common in our society.
So common.
It is this type of attack that we saw at
Psyops.
Fort Hood in 2009,
PSYOP.
in Chattanooga earlier this year,
PSYOP.
and now in San Bernardino.
PSYOP. Yep.
And as groups like ISIL grew stronger
PSYOP.
amidst the chaos of war in Iraq and then Syria,
Everything he just mentioned is scripted and ran by the CIA and Mossad. And written by the fucking Freemasons and Zionist psychopaths that listen to their masters and do as they're told, man.
and as the internet erases the distance between countries, we see growing efforts by terrorists
They're radicalize you
to
online.
poison the minds of people like the Boston Marathon
Police
bombers
the internet.
and the San Bernardino killers.
The Boston Hoaxathon. They're bringing them
For
all
7
out
years,
for this one, huh?
I have confronted this evolving threat each and every morning in my intelligence briefing.
In your script.
And since the day I took this office, I have authorized U.S. forces to take
you
out
mean-
terrorists
You mean the royal palace of the corporation of the United States?
abroad precisely because I know how real the danger is.
So dangerous out there.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have no greater responsibility than the security of the American people.
Fear.
As a father to two
Fear.
young daughters who are the
Heartstrings.
most
Yanking
precious
your
part of my
heartstrings.
life,
Yeah. Right.
I know that we see ourselves with friends and coworkers at a holiday party like the one in San Bernardino. I know we see our kids in the faces of the young people killed in Paris.
Yeah.
And I know that after so much war, many Americans are asking whether we are confronted by a cancer.
They want to attach this shit to your heart, man. They want to emotionally attach you to their psychological operation bullshit, man.
That has no immediate cure.
There's no cure for the terrorism.
Well, here's what I want you to know.
There's no cure for ISIL.
The threat from terrorism is real, but we will overcome it. We will destroy ISIL and any other organization that tries to harm us.
We're going to destroy the CIA.
Our success won't depend on tough talk or abandoning our values or giving in to fear.
Fear.
That's what groups like ISIL are hoping for.
Right, that's what the CIA is hoping for. To
Instead,
create fear.
we will prevail by being strong and smart, resilient and relentless, and by drawing upon every aspect of American power.
They are relentless with this propaganda. Here's how
First,
we do it.
our military will continue to hunt down terrorist plotters in any country where it is necessary.
In any country we say
in Iraq
ISIS
and Syria, airstrikes are taking out ISIL leaders. Heavy weapons,
We're going to continue to bomb the corporation of Iraq and Syria.
Tankers, infrastructure.
War.
And since the attacks in Paris, our closest allies, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, have ramped up their contributions to our military campaign, which will help us accelerate our effort to destroy ISIL. Second, we will continue to provide training and equipment to tens of thousands of Iraqi and Syrian forces fighting ISIL on the ground.
Of course, they have plenty of debt dollars to keep supplying their allies in their never-ending wars. Don't have enough to keep the schools open. Don't have enough to feed everybody. But you got plenty of money to spend on death and destruction, don't you? Plenty of it.
So that we take away their safe havens.
We gotta take away
in both countries, we're deploying special operations forces who can accelerate that offensive.
Got to take away
We've stepped up this effort since the attacks in Paris, and will continue to invest more in approaches that are working on the ground. Third, we're working with friends and allies to stop ISIL's operations, to disrupt plots, cut off their financing, and prevent them from recruiting more fighters. Since the attacks in Paris, we've surged intelligence sharing with our European allies.
Oh, yeah.
We're working with Turkey to seal its border with Syria.
Seal the border. We're to build
and we are cooperating with Muslim-majority countries and with our Muslim communities here at home to counter the vicious ideology that ISIL promotes online.
So vicious.
Fourth,
vicious online, man.
With American leadership, the international community has begun to establish a process and timeline to pursue ceasefires and a political resolution to the Syrian war. Doing so will allow the Syrian people and every country, including our allies, but also countries like Russia, to focus on the common goal of destroying ISIL.
Common goal of destroying humanity.
This is our strategy to destroy ISIL.
Physically, mentally,
it is designed and supported by our military commanders and counterterrorism experts, together with 65 countries that have joined an American-led coalition.
65 corporations.
And we constantly examine our
65 corporations, and they can't stop a bunch of jackasses with militarized Toyotas, huh? Give me a fucking break.
Strategy to determine when additional steps are needed to get the job done. That's why I've ordered the Departments of State and Homeland Security to review the visa waiver program under which the female terrorist in San Bernardino originally came to this country.
Right.
And that's why I will urge high-tech and law enforcement leaders to make it harder for terrorists to use technology to escape from justice.
Right. We're going to police the internet.
Now, here at home, we have to work together to address the challenge.
We need an internet ID card.
There are several steps that Congress should take right away.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
To begin with, Congress should act to make sure no one on a no-fly list is able to buy a gun.
Go, gun control.
What could possibly be the argument for allowing a terrorist suspect to buy a semi-automatic weapon? This is a matter of national security.
No, it's national security.
We also need to make it harder for people to buy powerful assault weapons, like the ones that were used in San...
There you go, but wait, Barry, the Second Amendment says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But that's exactly what they're doing, and that's exactly what they keep fucking doing, man. They keep coming after them assault rifles. They don't care about your little pistols. They just want them assault rifles, right? So they can easily overpower you when they need to.
Bernardino. I know there are some who reject any gun safety measures.
Shall not be
infringed. The fact is that our intelligence and law enforcement agencies, no matter how effective they are, cannot identify every would-be mass shooter, whether that individual is motivated by ISIL or some other hateful ideology.
Motivated by the CIA.
What we can do,
or some other bullshit we made up,
is
to
make
keep you
it
divided
harder
and
for
conquered
them
and in
to
fear.
kill. Next, we should put in place stronger screening for those who come to America without a visa, so that we can take a hard look at whether they've traveled to war zones.
Right.
And we're working with members of both parties in Congress to do exactly that.
Put their whole fist up your fucking ass to make sure you're not a fucking
Congress
terrorist.
Believes, as I do, that we are at war with ISIL,
we're at war,
it should go ahead and vote to authorize the continued use of military force against these terrorists. For over a year, I have ordered our military to take thousands of airstrikes against ISIL targets.
Thousands of airstrikes.
I think it's time for Congress to vote to demonstrate that the American people are united.
They say ISIL targets. What is that? Right? An ISIL target? Oh, that's a school. That's a factory, right? It's a fucking hospital. It's a grocery store. Those are the ISIL targets they speak of.
And committed to this fight. My fellow Americans, these are the steps that we can take together to defeat the terrorist threat. Let me now say a word about what we should not do. We should not be drawn once more into a long and costly ground war in Iraq or Syria.
That's how they say it. We should not. He didn't say we will not. We should not. Let's hear that little part again. We should not be drawn, right? We will not. We should not. But we will. We will.
Let me now say a word about what we should not do. We should not be drawn once more into a long and costly ground war in Iraq or Syria.
You will.
That's what groups like
a false flag, fairy tale hoax, psyop us over and over and over again until you get your ground troops, you fucking psychopaths.
ISIL want. They know they can't defeat us on the battlefield. ISIL fighters were part of the insurgency that we faced in Iraq. But they also know that if we occupy foreign lands, they can maintain insurgencies for years, killing thousands of our troops.
Psychopaths occupy every corporation on the fucking planet, man. Every square inch of land on this motherfucker. These psychopaths got their greedy little fucking fingers all up in it, man.
Draining our resources.
Not this fucking
and using our presence to draw new recruits. The strategy that we are using now, airstrikes, special forces, and working with local forces who are fighting to regain control of their own country.
Trillions of debt dollars.
That is how we'll achieve a more sustainable victory. And it won't require us sending a new generation of Americans overseas to fight and die for another decade on foreign soil.
But how will you get your blood sacrificed, Barry?
Here's what else we cannot do. We cannot turn against one another by letting this fight be defined as a war between America and Islam.
Here you go.
That, too, is what groups like ISIL want.
That's what they want, right?
ISIL does not speak for Islam. They are thugs and killers, part of a cult of death. And they account for a tiny fraction
like your little Saturn cult,
of more than a billion Muslims around the world, including millions of patriotic Muslim Americans who reject their hateful ideology.
Muslim Americans, see.
Moreover, the vast majority...
That's one of those talking points that propagandist Alex Jones is going to cling on to. He's going to say, oh, there goes Satoru again, you know, kissing the ass of the Muslims. He's a Muslim, right? That's part of his little bullshit narrative that he spins to the fucking people, man. Reading his fucking script, doing his job here.
The majority of terrorist victims around the world are Muslim.
Yeah, Muslim.
Good evening.
Good evening. Go fuck yourself, Barry. Just like I said. Right, just like I said. Gun control, war, fear, divide and conquer. More laws, less rights, man. Fear. Just like we said again. Radicalization, censor of the internet. Radicalization, martial law, gun control. And the new world order, man. It's exactly what this fuckboy just gave to us, man. If you don't believe it, research it for yourself. Research this fuckboy for yourself. Go within your hearts, man. Create your own thoughts.